Steve Martin, the legendary comedian, actor, and musician, has crafted a remarkable life both on and off the screen. In this video, explores Steve Martin's luxurious lifestyle in 2025, including an exclusive house tour, a look into his family life with his wife and children, his incredible car collection, and a deep dive into his net worth. Discover the private world of a true entertainment icon. Born the 14th of August, 1945. Age 79 years. Waco, Texas, United States. Spouse, Ann Stringfield, ABM 2007. Victoria Tennant, NR 1986. 1994. Height, 1.83 m. Awards, AFI Life Achievement Award. See more. Siblings, Melinda Martin. Parents, Glenn Vernon Martin, Mary Lee Martin. Personal life. At the beginning of his career in comedy, Martin dated writer and artist Eve Babbitts, who suggested he dress in what became his trademark white suit. From 1977 to 1980, Martin was in a relationship with Bernadette Peters, with whom he co-starred in The Jerk and Pennies from Heaven. He also dated Karen Carpenter, Mary Tyler Moore, and Anne Hesh, who wrote about their relationship in her memoir. On November 20th, 1986, Martin married actress Victoria Tennant, with whom he co-starred in All of Me and LA Story. They divorced in 1994. Martin went on a USO tour to Saudi Arabia during Operation Desert Storm from October 14th to 21, 1990. He met with military servicemen and women all over the region, signing thousands of autographs and posing for pictures. Everybody coming out here, giving up part of their lives for this effort. I had some time off and I felt kind of bad just sitting there, Martin said, so I came. On July 28, 2007, Martin married writer and former New Yorker staff member Ann Stringfield. Bob Carey presided over the ceremony at Martin's Los Angeles home. Lorne Michaels served as best man. The nuptials came as a surprise to several guests who had been told they were coming for a party. In December 2012, Martin became a father when Stringfield gave birth to their daughter. Martin has been an avid art collector since 1968, when he bought a print by Ed Ruscha. In 2001, the Bellagio Gallery of Fine Art presented a 5-month exhibit of 28 items from Martin's collection, including works by Roy Lichtenstein, Pablo Picasso, David Hockney, and Edward Hopper. In 2006, he sold Hopper's Hotel Window, 1955, at Sotheby's for $26.8 million. In 2015, working with 2 other curators, he organized an exhibition at the Museum of Fine Arts, Boston, and several other locations called The Idea of North, the Paintings of Lauren Harris, featuring the works of Canadian painter and Group of 7 co-founder Lauren Harris. In July 2004, Martin purchased what he believed to be Landschaft mit Pferden, Landscape with Horses, a 1915 work by Heinrich Kempendonck from Paris Gallery for approximately 700,000 euros. 15 months later, he sold the painting at a Christie's auction to a Swiss businesswoman for 500,000 euros. The painting was later discovered to be a forgery. Police believe the fake Kempendonck originated from a collection devised by a German forgery ring led by Wolfgang Beltracchi, pieces from which had been sold to French galleries. Martin only discovered the fact that the painting had been faked many years after it had been sold at the auction. Concerning the experience, Martin said that the Beltrachis were quite clever in that they gave it a long provenance and they faked labels, and it came out of a collection that mingled legitimate pictures with fake pictures. Martin was on the Los Angeles County Museum of Art Board of Trustees from 1984 to 2004. Martin assisted in launching the National Endowment for Indigenous Visual Arts, NEVA, a fund to support Australian Indigenous artists in 2021. Martin has supported Indigenous Australian painting previously. He organized an exhibition in 2019 with Gagosian Gallery titled Desert Painters of Australia, which featured art by George Chungarai and Emily Kungare. Martin has tinnitus. The condition was first attributed to filming a pistol shooting scene for Three Amigos in 1986, but Martin later clarified that the tinnitus was actually from years of listening to loud music and performing in front of noisy crowds. Career, stand-up comedy, late night. In 1967, his former girlfriend Nina Goldblatt, a dancer on the Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour, helped Martin land a writing job with the show by submitting his work to head writer Mason Williams. Williams initially paid Martin out of his own pocket. Along with the other writers for the show, Martin won an Emmy Award in 1969 at the age of 23. He wrote for the Glenn Campbell Good Time Hour and the Sonny Cher Comedy Hour. Martin's first national television appearance was on the Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour in 1968. He says, appeared on the Virginia Graham Show, circa 1970. I looked grotesque. I had a hairdo like a helmet, which I blow-dried to a puffy bouffant for reasons I no longer understand. I wore a frock coat and a silk shirt, and my delivery was mannered, slow, and self-aware. I had absolutely no authority. After reviewing the show, I was depressed for a week. During these years, his roommates included Gary Muledeer and Michael Johnson. Gary Muledeer supplied the first joke Martin submitted to Tommy Smothers for use on the Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour show. Martin opened for groups such as the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band, who returned the favor by appearing in his 1980 television special, All Commercials, The Carpenters, and Toto. He appeared at the Boarding House, among other venues. He continued to write, earning an Emmy nomination for his work on Van Dyke and Company in 1976. In the mid-1970s, Martin made frequent appearances as a stand-up comedian on The Tonight Show, starring Johnny Carson, and on The Gong Show, HBO's On Location, The Muppet Show, and NBC's Saturday Night Live, SNL. SNL's audience jumped by 1 million viewers when he made guest appearances, and he was one of the show's most successful hosts. Martin has appeared on 27 Saturday Night Live shows and guest hosted 16 times, second only to Alec Baldwin, who has hosted 17 times as of February 2017. On the show, Martin popularized the air quotes gesture. While on the show, Martin grew close to several cast members, including Gilda Radner. On the night she died of ovarian cancer, a tearful Martin hosted SNL and featured footage of himself and Radner together in a 1978 sketch. Early life and education. Stephen Glenn Martin was born on August 14, 1945, in Waco, Texas, the son of Mary Lee, née Stewart, 1911 to 2002, and Glenn Vernon Martin, 1914 and 1997. A real estate salesman and aspiring actor. He has an older sister, Melinda. Martin is of English, Scottish, Welsh, Scots-Irish, German, and French descent. He and his sister grew up in a Baptist family in Inglewood, California, and later in Garden Grove in Orange County. He was a cheerleader at Garden Grove High School. One of Martin's earliest memories is seeing his father as an extra serving drinks on stage at the Callboard Theater on Melrose Place in West Hollywood. During World War II in Britain, his father appeared in a production of Our Town with Raymond Massey. Expressing his affection through gifts like cars and bikes, Steve's father was stern and not emotionally open to his son. He was proud but critical, with Steve later recalling that in his teens, his feelings for his father were mostly of hatred. Steve Martin's first job was at newly opened Disneyland, selling guidebooks on weekends and full-time during summer break. The work lasted for 3 years, 1955, 1958. During his free time, he frequented the Main Street Magic Shop, where tricks were demonstrated to patrons. While working at Disneyland, he was captured in the background of the home movie that was made into the short subject film Disneyland Dream, incidentally becoming his first film appearance. By 1960, he had mastered several magic tricks and illusions and took a paying job at the magic shop in Fantasyland in August. There, he perfected his talents for magic, juggling, and creating balloon animals in the manner of mentor Wally Bogue, frequently performing for tips. In his authorized biography, close friend Morris Walker suggests that Martin could be described most accurately as an agnostic. He rarely went to church and was never involved in organized religion of his own volition. In his early 20s, Martin dated Melissa Trumbo, daughter of novelist and screenwriter Dalton Trumbo. After high school, Martin attended Santa Ana College, taking classes in drama and English poetry. In his free time, he teamed up with friend and high school classmate Kathy Westmoreland to participate in comedies and other productions at the Birdcage Theater. He joined a comedy troupe at Knott's Berry Farm. Later, he met budding actress Stormy Shirk, and they developed comedy routines and became romantically involved. Shirk's influence led Martin to apply to the California State University, Long Beach, for enrollment with a major in philosophy. Shirk enrolled at UCLA, about an hour's drive north, and the distance eventually caused them to lead separate lives. Inspired by his philosophy classes, Martin considered becoming a professor instead of an actor-comedian. Being at college changed his life. It changed what I believe and what I think about everything. I majored in philosophy. Something about non sequiturs appealed to me. In philosophy, I started studying logic, and they were talking about cause and effect. And you start to realize, hey, there is no cause and effect. There is no logic. There is no anything. Then it gets real easy to write this stuff because all you have to do is twist everything hard. You twist the punchline, you twist the non sequitur so hard away from the things that set it up. Martin recalls reading a treatise on comedy that led him to think, oh, what if there were no punchlines? What if there were no indicators? What if I created tension and never released it? What if I headed for a climax, but all I delivered was an anticlimax? What would the audience do with all that tension? Theoretically, it would have to come out sometime. But if I kept denying them the formality of a punchline, the audience would eventually pick their own place to laugh, essentially out of desperation. Martin periodically spoofed his philosophy studies in his 1970s stand-up act, comparing philosophy with studying geology. If you're studying geology, which is all facts, as soon as you get out of school, you forget it all. But philosophy, you remember just enough to screw you up for the rest of your life. In 1967, Martin transferred to UCLA and switched his major to theater. While attending college, he appeared in an episode of The Dating Game, winning a date with Dana Martin. Martin began working local clubs at night to mixed notices, and at 21, he dropped out of college.